Hello, and you're all very welcome along to the latest Champ.ie podcast, Ireland's premier horse racing podcast in association with Boyle Sports, Gorham Park, EJ Menswear, Shamrock Thoroughbreds, Midland Travel and McCafferty's traditional Irish bars.
They're coming to the final fence and the 25 Govs tie yesterday. Nick Rocket lands in the lead from Velvet Elvis, gone well clear. Up Favori to Shundu and Bushman's past, they're well strung out. Nick Rocket on the stand side for win number 10 in the race for Willie Mullins.
Enter our Champ.ie headline competition in association with Midland Travel, where you could win a trip for two to the Cheltenham Festival 2026. For a chance to win, simply subscribe to the Champ.ie podcast on YouTube if you haven't already, and scan the QR code to enter your competition details today. We look forward to discussing your weekly #5cast selections in the comment section below. Hello, and you're all very welcome along to the latest Champ.ie horse racing podcast. And this week, well, it's all about the Dublin Racing Festival. We're going to be looking ahead to the key races over the 2 days at Leopardstown, and we have got a fantastic show lined up for you. Of course, we've got plenty to come as well with our very special guest. Let's get a little tip of what he's going to be talking about later on in our special guest this week, Sam Ewing.
I was able to pick horses off very easy from the back of the second last and turn in. And when I pulled him out from behind Paul and Jack, he had a good turn of foot down to the last as well.
Yes, you're very welcome back. And of course, a big thank you to all our sponsors as always. Gorham Park, Boyle Sports, EJ Menswear, Shamrock Thoroughbreds, McCafferty's Irish Bars and Midland Travel. And of course, Loaded also. Now, before we get right into the heart of the show, we want to give you a chance and an opportunity to win a trip for two to the Cheltenham Festival in March.
To begin with a chance of winning an all-inclusive trip for two to the 2026 Cheltenham Festival in association with Midland Travel, Ireland's leading horse racing travel specialist. Simply subscribe to Champ.ie on YouTube if you haven't already, and scan the QR code on screen and answer the following question. Who won the 2025 Cheltenham Gold Cup? Was it 1. Galopin de Champ, 2. I Know the Way You're Thinking, or 3. Marine Nationale? Register your competition details today, including your YouTube username. Don't forget, you must subscribe to Champ.ie on YouTube to qualify. The competition winner will be announced on Thursday, the 12th of February. Best of luck and be lucky.
Yes, and as they say, if you're not in, you can't win. And Barry, not alone, if you're not in, you can't win. You're going to tell us about some opportunities for our listeners to be able to chance, of course, to win some further prizes.
The 5cast draw is back there, the 5 races for this week, and we're extending it for one more week. Of course, the first half of the season, we have still some fantastic prizes up for grabs. Breakfast with the Shark Cannon, of course. So we have an overnight stay at the Fairways Hotel and tickets to Dundalk Racing some Friday nights. And of course, we do have a yearly subscription to the Irish Field as well, thanks to Mark Costello and the team there. And also that €150 voucher for McDonagh Shopping Centre, Dave. And look, we're extending it for one more week. We didn't do a show on St. Stephen's Day like we were scheduled to do, Dave. So we're making up for it now. So one more chance. Put your selections for the Dublin Racing Festival down below. And we're going to announce some winners on next week's show and some more prizes for the second half of the season.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that, Barry, and a great opportunity. And of course, we want you to put your selections in for those key 5 races that we are going to look at on today's show. We'll be looking, of course, at the Goffs Irish Arkle, the Irish Gold Cup, the Grade 1, the Champion Hurdle, the Tattersalls Ireland Novices Hurdle, and the 2 mile 1 furlong Dublin Chase, the Grade 1. Barry, straight into it we go. We start off with the Arkle. What a renewal we're going to have this Saturday afternoon. Potentially, we're going to learn an awful lot about who's going to be, top of the market after this for Cheltenham, I think.
Yeah, look, I think the snorkels and flippers, Dave, are going to need to be out because of a couple of battles, as we're recording, Dave, yet to be won. It's looking good at the moment for Leopardstown, but still rain scheduled. I think up to 11 mil scheduled tomorrow on Thursday, and Friday as well, over 10 mil of rain as well scheduled. So fingers crossed, but it is going to take getting, isn't it? And look, I suppose the Irish Arkle picture, I've made no secret about, I suppose, my liking for Romeo Coolio, even for the 2 mile race at the Cheltenham Festival. Ultra consistent novice herder. And I think he's probably the one horse in the lineup that we know has improved, the guts of a stone. 3 from 3 over fences, really good in the Drinmore. And look, I thought over 2 miles last time people were saying, Dave, was the trip maybe a little bit too short for Romeo Coolio? I've no question and no doubt that this horse will get 2.5 miles and 3 miles in time, but it takes a stare to win an Arkle. This is 2 mile, 1 furlong. I just think with the race itself, you're getting even money about Romeo Coolio. To me, that looks a good price, given I suppose we've only seen Copig de Boer on one occasion over fences. Is he bomb-proof mentally? Has he improved for a fence? We probably don't have enough evidence. He's only had the one start over fences. I think the rock-solid bet in the race is Romeo Coolio. What you see is what you get. And look, people are talking about, the pace or 2 miles, for example. He was second in a champion bumper, Dave. Let's not forget that. And, 4 of his victories has come on soft ground, including that point-to-point victory. So I think he's rock solid. For me, at the prices, himself and Irish Panther, the last day at Leopardstown, pulled a nice bit clear of the third. And, he got first run the second on that occasion. And I thought he showed a really good attitude, Romeo Coolio, to get his head down and battle in the finish. So that was a good sign. Willie Mullins has won 7 of the last 10 renewals. But I think this one could be going to Cullen could kick off it could kick Gordon off with a grade 1 success on the Saturday.
Well, the second race of our 5 casts that we're going to look at is the 3 mile Irish Gold Cup, the grade 1. What a race we have. Galloping the Champ finished third, of course, at Leopardstown over Christmas. That was a good run. He'll strip a lot fitter on Saturday afternoon. With Barry, this is a very, very strong renewal.
Certainly is. And I think a lot stronger renewal this season than maybe what we've seen in recent seasons, Dave, to be fair. And, 5-4, the story of the race, or looking at the race picture, 5-4 about Galloping the Champ. To me, it looks short. He's 10 years of age now. Look, he's, as you mentioned, Dave, should strip that little bit fitter and has done absolutely nothing wrong, even in defeat in the Gold Cup last season. To come out at Punchestown and win by 22 lengths. And that was some effort at the back end of the season, to be fair as well. A really good run to be third, of course, at Leopardstown over the Christmas period. He's a 12-time grade 1 winner, Dave. Almost 2 million in prize money. What a servant he's been. He's the top rated in here as well in terms of official ratings, 175, and he'll be having his 20th career start. We really, I suppose, look, it's not a case of opposing Galloping the Champ. It's just simply a price thing for me, because looking at how deep this race is, Dave, I mean, you have a Welsh national winner in there who was so good last time, will love the conditions and will be up there on the pace, possibly, harassing Galloping the Champ early doors. Affordale Fury, he's still unexposed, given a rating of 166 after winning at Christmas. The confidence was very, very high. We will hear from Sam Ewing later on in the show. He rode the horse, of course, to victory at Leopardstown over Christmas. And then you have the mare as well, Spindleberry, who, similar to Affordale Fury, mightn't have the rating on paper to win this now, but is unexposed moving up and trip the 3 miles. And we just don't know how good she could be. She's 5-5 over fences in her career. I think she'll relish the testing ground. I do believe she's not unbeaten on heavy ground, but she's 5-6 on soft and heavy ground. So an 8-year-old with just 9 career starts. I just thought she was the each way value in the race, Dave. I'm not saying she's a cert to win the race, but I think she, the way the race could be run as well could set up for this mare. We actually haven't had a mare to win the Irish Gold Cup. Could she be the first to do it? The owners are bullish. They want to go down the Gold Cup route. Have put her up on the Monday show, Dave, as a mare's chase contender. I just think Spindleberry, the fact that they're coming here, the market confidence as well in recent weeks for this particular race. I mean, we were saying that if she ran in the Tayeste, she was going to take a hell of a lot of beating off top weight. I mean, if you believe that, Dave, getting £7 here with the potential to improve up to 3 miles, to me, at 7-1, should she line up each way, that to me looks the value, because she'll probably be ridden from off the pace and the race could be run to suit.
Big question I have for you about this Gold Cup of the weekend is we have the reigning Gold Cup I know the reigning Gold Cup winner, and I know the way you're thinking. He hasn't, maybe to many, shown up so far this year. If he was to go back to the Cotswolds in March and win the Gold Cup, does he need to come out here and show us something like really special this weekend?
I think he needs to show us something, Dave, because last season, if you look at the trajectory of his form last campaign, well beaten in the John Dirk and well beaten at Christmas, but closed the gap, didn't he, at the Dublin Racing Festival? I think Galloping the Champ, he only finished 7 lengths behind Galloping the Champ. So he showed promise in this race last season. He needs to be shown a little bit more for me, Dave. I think he's capable of it. A fine horse. I was down in Gavin Cromwell's actually at the start of the season, doing the series with Davy, and he's a gorgeous individual, and he's like the race as well, Dave, and obviously has the rating as well. I mentioned Galloping the Champ is rated 175, the top rated. He's actually a joint top rating, because I know the way you're thinking, albeit well beaten, treble figures in terms of combined lengths that he was beaten in his last couple of starts. You know, he needs to show something here, but that performance in the Gold Cup last season, I mean, that was unreal.
It was unreal, and it's going to be a fascinating race. And it's one of those races that I think whatever's going to come out on top at the weekend, it'll, will certainly be to the top of the market for the Gold Cup come March. Right, we'll move on then, because we're going to take a look at the third race or the next race we're going to take a look at on the card is on Sunday, of course. That is the Irish Champion Hurdle. Barry, for me, and I think maybe for you as well, when we were speaking earlier, doing our little one-on-ones, as they say, before our weekly podcast, we very much are in agreement that this is an A versus B, but you're very much, it could be just an A.
A versus B, Dave. I think Amsterdam, I'd love to see more from him. Could we have a change of tactics with him potentially? Because he was very, very free at Christmas. And, I think Patrick Mullins had to just let him off and do his own thing. He was really good over his hurdles. He could be the potential springer in here, albeit Gorn Park fans might hope to see him maybe in the Red Mills hurdle with El Fabiola. It looks a match on paper, Dave. Two 7-year-old mares, both rated 159, getting £7 in a champion hurdle. I mean, that would be really interesting to see. I think Lossiemouth, if she wins here, which I think she will, heading on to Cheltenham, getting £7 off the new line, I think she could be the real deal. People are saying, is she better over further? I think she's pretty versatile, Dave, and true. I think she's just a really classy mare. And I think she's just that little bit classier than Brighter Days Ahead, and more consistent as well. At Leopardstown, of course, at the Dublin Racing Festival last season, Dave, she came down, obviously. And, the other time she was beaten, was when she was a juvenile, and she met all sorts of trouble in running. So, she's been so consistent, and, she's very close to being an unbeaten mare, 16 out of 16. So, 147 rated Glenkillen has franked the form. Obviously, the Morgiana, Lossiemouth 5's on that occasion, was well entitled to win, but she absolutely battered Glenkillen on that occasion, on deep ground, heavy ground. And that's gone on to obviously do the form no harm whatsoever at Naas this week. So ridden close to the pace, I think is important to her. She does stay further than 2 miles. I think Brighter Days Ahead is going to have it all to do to reverse the form, Dave, and I don't think she will.
Final question before we head into our first ad break. There's surely no doubts about Lossiemouth this year going for a mayor's hurdle at Cheltenham, considering the strength of the division in the champion hurdle and what she has done so far.
She wins this, Dave, she has to go to the champion hurdle. That's not even a question. But if she was to be toppled here, maybe they might consider rerouting. But what else is Willie Mullins maybe for that mayor's hurdle division? Is Jade de Grugy maybe going to come back over hurdles? She's a mare that, a high class mare, and she could be one potentially for that race. But look, since falling, should I say, at the Dublin Racing Festival last season, she's racked up 4 grade 1s on the bounce, including over 2 miles. She has to go for the champion hurdle, Dave. I think the division has fallen apart with Sergino as well. She has to go for it.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt about it. Right, still to come on the show, we're going to be looking at 2 more of the races from the Dublin Racing Festival, which are both on Sunday. That's the Tattersalls Ireland Novices Hurdle. That's the grade 1. We'll also look at the Dublin Chase over 2 miles and 1. That is a grade 1 also. We've, of course, to hear from Stephen Thorne of Shamrock Thoroughbreds. We'll get an update from him and his runners at Dundalk this week. But now we are going to head into our very first ad break on the show. And right after this, we're going to hear from our very special guest this week in Sam Ewing.
How's things, folks? It's going to be a Baltic winter, and our winter wonder is back here at EJ Menswear and EJMenswear.com. €279 for 5 pieces all in, including your wool coat. We've got an unbelievable selection in this. Start off with your coat, build that. Choose a top from a quarter zip knit from Ted Smith. Any of our shirts, hundreds and hundreds of different combinations you can put together here. I've gone all black with the charcoal grey coat. Everything included in this: your coat, your quarter zip, or your shirt or your top, your bottoms. We even throw in the free scarf and socks. €279. It's a saving of over €200. The colours in the coats are class. You've got your camel there at the front. You've got your French navy. You have the black and you have the charcoal that I'm wearing here. A saving of over €200. The Winter Wonder Bundle is live now on the website, EJ Menswear, and in-store in Grattan Street in Sligo.
It's on the eve of the Dublin Racing Festival, and delighted to welcome back to the Champ.ie podcast a man, of course, who's has a big association with Team Cullentra, leading the championship at the moment. And just talking off air, Sam, this weekend could tell a lot in terms of that championship, but it's great for racing.
Yeah, as you say, great for racing. Great for the yard. It's a massive team, and great for Gordon as well. It's a lot of work goes in every day, and a lot of nice horses up there. So yeah.
Anytime asked the question, Gordon won't entertain chat of the championship. I know he went very, very close, of course, a couple of seasons ago, but 600 ahead in the championship. I mean, there must be a tremendous buzz in the yard. Obviously, Gordon well represented in terms of entries at the Dublin Racing Festival this season, but it must be very, very exciting to be part of that.
Yeah, it's always a great environment to work in. As I said, it's a big team effort up there. But everyone's in good form about the place, which is great to see. And yeah, sure, it'd be great if he could do it.
We are, I suppose, talking about Leopardstown now this weekend, and mentioning the word Leopardstown. You had a fantastic Leopardstown over the Christmas period, a Grade 1 double.
Yeah, very lucky period for me, to be honest. I was fortunate to fall in for JJ and Donna, and got the right bunch to the ball and some of Gordon as well. So a very lucky week for me.
Affordale Fury, obviously for Noel Meade. There seemed to be a lot of confidence about the horse heading into to Leopardstown in the big one, the Savills Chase. I mean, what were the instructions? I mean, was the confidence? Did you feel the confidence before the run?
Yeah, I'd schooled him a few days prior, and he schooled brilliant. And Noel was saying he worked brilliant before that. They were delighted with the form he was in, and they were all right, I suppose.
Looking at the horse's rating heading into Christmas, he'd a bit defined, but were they pretty confident he could, mix it with horses rated 170 plus?
Noel was. He thought he'd run a big race, whatever about being a little bit behind on ratings. I suppose he was probably one of the most unexposed runners in the race too. He'd had a bit of bad luck with injury and things, but hopefully he stays on now, and be great if he could improve again.
What would you say is the horse's biggest strengths? I suppose what sort of feel did he give you on the day?
The way he hit the line was impressive. He had joined at the second last and galloped the whole way through the line. And I know people said he jumped quite right on the day, which he kind of did going down the back the second time. But his jumping on the day was, he didn't miss a beat. He was very good from fence to fence.
Carl Cannon obviously won for Noel Meade at the Dublin Racing Festival last season. He'll be hoping obviously Affordale Fury can go close once again. I mean, how far do you think, you sat at him at Christmas, how far do you think he possibly could go?
Yeah, well, he's, I suppose that he had race fitness on his side, which was a big plus to him on the day. Galloping the champs and them didn't have that. But the way he beat very good horse like that, you wouldn't know, was the sky the limit for him or but look, obviously the other horses like the Galloping the Champs and Maximus, and I know the way you're thinking could bounce back, they'll all step up again too, so it'll be a great race.
And the County Down Syndicate, of course, had a fantastic Leopardstown win in the bumper as well.
Yeah, they're great lads. Lucky enough to be sponsored by Philly as well, and he had a big crew down with him. So I think they had a great couple of days, didn't they?
The other horse, obviously, Solness. I mean, this horse absolutely loves Leopardstown. He's entered up once again, and the ground would maybe all the rain that's due. Would that be maybe a bit of a concern? Do you think for Solness?
I've only rode him the once. I think that Joseph thought the nice ground of Christmas was going to be a positive to us. Probably looking at his form, he does definitely prefer a nicer ground. But look, it's a very hot contest as well.
You mentioned Joseph, talk the talk. He was giving you some spin, been at Leopardstown, and he's entered up at Christmas once again. What sort of feel did talk the talk give you at Christmas?
Yeah, he's a lovely horse. The plan was just to get him settled, and creep away, and he did. He spat it out, and he jumped brilliant on the hole, and he winged the last and just got his arse a little bit too high. Look, he's a very exciting novice. He's really one for the future.
He seemed to really travel up nicely. Do you think that's maybe one of his biggest strengths, his cruising speed and how he quickened?
Yeah, and as I say, the way he settled, and it was just like he was just picking off. He was able to pick horses off very easy from the back of the second last and turn in. And when I pulled him out from behind Paul and Jack, he had a good turn of foot down at the last as well.
Obviously, we had you booked in for the Dublin Racing Festival prior to what happened at Navan. Look, we'll come on to some of the big hitters from Cullen a couple of moments' time, heading into the Dublin Racing Festival. But how's the recovery going, Sam? I know, look, just looking, I suppose, at the injury and speaking to you off air, you're pretty hopeful to be back soon.
Yeah, I've was unfortunate to break kind of the bottom of my leg and ankle around that area in Navan about 10 days ago. But I've been in race, getting to physio from Gavin. Obviously Wayne is in there in the gym, and Jennifer. And speaking to Paddy Kenny this morning, we're hopeful we won't be out for too long.
Brighter days ahead versus Lossiemouth. What way do you see the match this weekend?
Look, I think it'll be a good race. You know, like Lossiemouth had the fitness on brighter days ahead, and look, there wasn't a lot in him at the line. So look, obviously be hoping to see brighter days ahead pick her up, but I think it'll be a great race to watch.
Both 7 years of age, both rated 159. I suppose brighter days ahead. Are the team pretty confident that, you know, she's come forward for that run at Leopardstown last time and can reverse the form?
As far as I know, yeah. I've obviously haven't been up there in a few weeks now, so but as far as I know, everybody's happy, and yeah, hopefully she can step up from that.
Romeo Coolio, unbeaten over fences thus far, and you obviously won on this horse when he won the graded novice race at Leopardstown last season as well. He's a hell of a horse, isn't he?
Yeah, fine big horse. You know, he give you a great feel. Always jumped the hurdle like he wanted the fence, and it's I think it's nice to see him really coming into himself now. Everything he's done so far over fences has been fairly impressive.
He won over 2.5 miles in the Drinmore. He was ultra impressive that day. What have you made of, I suppose, some of the chat saying that, you know, he needs further than 2 miles? I thought he was pretty good over 2 miles at Leopardstown over Christmas. He's not slow, is he? No,
he's not slow by no means. You know, any horse that can win over 2 or 2.5 miles are definitely not slow. He's a high cruising speed. He's a good jumper. Yeah, he's a good racehorse. So I think he could. You know, there's a way of looking at it. He could be versatile both ways, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Do you think the rain falling is going to play to his strengths over 2 mile?
Yeah, I don't think he's ever actually gotten proper soft ground anyways, from as far as I can remember, but I definitely don't think it would be any burden to him at all. I think it might help.
Sam, the novice hurdle brigades from Cullen Alkairos entered up at Thurles on Thursday as we're recording. If we have racing, I mean, the team must be very excited to see him once again.
Yeah, he looked like he was going to be very impressive on the day. In a pretty good maiden hurdle where it was a good run race as well, and just the way he picked them off looked like he was going to be a very impressive winner. You know, he was just unlucky to nearly have a speed wobble or stumble at the back of it. He's definitely exciting.
Ballyfad, he's a horse that showed a good attitude in his bumpers. And did he surprise maybe a few how well he won at Christmas?
I suppose you could say that, the way he'd won his bumpers, but the attitude he'd shown to win bumpers, and then when he's got a hurdle in front of him, you know, he jumped brilliant throughout the race as well. So look, he's improving a lot, I'd say, run by run, just by looking at him. But yeah, he's definitely a nice horse on the up too.
He came from the point to point scene, so you'd have to think stamina would be no issue. How do you think he'll cope with the soft ground at Leopardstown?
I actually haven't rode a whole pile of him, but as you say, stamina would be no be no burden to him or no hassle to him at all. So hopefully he can handle it well. I don't see why he mightn't.
Yeah, big hello to the lads down on HM Inswear in Sligo. And of course, it was wonderful as well to hear from Sam Ewing. And Sam, we wish you a very speedy recovery and a big week for Colultra at the Dublin Racing Festival. Right, we move on. We're going to take a look at our final two races. And they are, of course, the fourth race this week we look at is the Grade 1, Barry. It's the 2 mile Tattersalls Irish Novices Hurdle. What do we like here?
Yes, Dave, doesn't look maybe the strongest renewal of the Tattersalls Ireland novice hurdle that we've maybe seen in recent seasons. And does it lack potentially that, that real superstar from Close Sutton that we've seen in the past? King Rasco Gray has obviously been strong in the market, but is he potentially a superstar? They're ever the same? I'm not sure they are, Dave. Ballyfad is interesting for Gordon Elliott. Of all, I suppose, the maiden hurdle and the novice hurdle winners that we see in this side of the water over the festive period, this was the one that stood out to me. Put him up for the Turners on the Monday show with Andrew Lynch. I think 2 miles will be fine for him here, albeit stepping up and trip later on in the campaign. I think the 2.5 miles could suit. The form is working out really strong, obviously, with from his bumpers and his maiden hurdle with leader Dallier coming out and winning, of course, at Punchestown earlier on in the week, Dave, and Rajuco Mack as well, franking the form, going on to win a bumper after being toppled by Ballyfad, of course, at Punchestown. So he's a horse that showed a lot of real good attitude, I thought, in both of his bumper victories and battling qualities. But didn't lack a gear then at Leopardstown over the Christmas period. I thought jumped brilliantly, Ballyfad, and I think you take a bit of whacking in this, in truth, Dave. He's 100 to 30 at the moment, given the fact that we mightn't have a superstar from Close Sutton in this contest, and the favourite is coming in off the back of a fall, which wouldn't be ideal for me, Joseph O'Brien's horse. He was going through the race lovely, wasn't he, and was going to win before falling in that, of course, graded race before Christmas, and brought a nice level of hurdles for him into the contest. But Ballyfad, he potentially could be a grade 1 novice to go to the festival for Team Ireland this season. And I'm hoping, Dave, he wins here over 2 miles and steps up and trip, making the way for maybe El Kairos to come into the mix, who we'll see on Thursday, hopefully, fingers crossed, at Thurles for Gordon Elliott.
Yes, absolutely. Really looking forward to seeing him, actually. El Kairos coming back. He was going to sluice up last time, only for coming down. So let's hope he can get the job done if all goes to plan on Thursday. Right, the final race then of the 5 that we look forward to is the Grade 1 Dublin Chase. Again, this is another fascinating Grade 1 this weekend, Barry.
It is, Dave, and I think there's maybe a couple of question marks about the front two in the market. I mean, Majborough, a massive fan, Dave. I've backed him for the champion chase. I think there's every possibility he could end up a real champion, whether it's this year, next year, who knows. I thought there was improvement in his jumping from Cork to Leopardstown last time. Did fitness potentially catch him out? The softer ground will suit. But for me, until he goes and does it, I'm certainly not rowing in here at 6-4. He's come to the towards the front end of the market. And then we have Marine Nationale, Dave, who, to finish like he did after what happened early in the contest at Leopardstown over the Christmas, it was a real top effort. My question mark with Marine Nationale is, A, the ground, and B, how hard a race did he have? In finishing second, to get back in contention, to be there with a chance to challenge, and then to, I suppose, run like he did. And it was a big effort to finish second and nearly won the race, to be fair. But how hard a race did he have for his first run of the campaign? That's a small concern for me, Dave. I think Barry probably will run the horse. Look, he won a Grade 1 on heavy ground, albeit he's better on nicer ground. He has won a Grade 1, of course, over hurdles on heavy ground in the past. And so he might just handle it. But I just have question marks about the front two in the market, Dave. And I'm going to have to get the old scarf out once again. And I had to have a real chat with myself when considering putting an Ergamine into the mix. He's 12 years of age, but hold fire. Don't be throwing stones at the screen to the viewers, Dave, because look at his 4 runs last season. I mean, this time last year, he was rated 169. Now, he's come down the official ratings, and, probably a lot of people think he's done with. But all 4 runs last season, at this time last year, he was only beaten in the Clarence House by John Bond 6 lengths on quick ground. That's not terrible form. And, ran a good race, obviously, to win the Hillyway last campaign. A good return as well in the Hillyway this season to finish 3rd. But all 4 runs last season were on quick ground. This horse, we know his best form is on, when the snorkers and flippers are required. And he'll have them at the weekend. Vibes are good. He's in a good place at home. A rating, look, if you ran to somewhere in the mid 160s here, Dave, it might just be good enough to get into the mix. Look, he's 10-1. I'm going to actually have a nibble on him to win the race, given the question marks about the front two at that price. And in the without market, if you got 4-1 or bigger in the without Marine Nationale market on the day, perhaps if he was to run, given the ground concerns and that hard race he might potentially have had last time. Just an Ergamine, it's a price thing, Dave. I promise you, I assure the viewers, this is not an emotional decision, because I had to look at this a couple of times before concluding. I actually think, look, he could run a big race, I think, here.
Yeah, I'm just going to come in on the point you made about Marine Nationale the last day. I'm not convinced that he had overly a hard race. The mistake happened very early on. Yes, he lost ground. Yes, he made up the ground. But I'd have a different view, Barry. I think class horses do that. It's like anything. A bad one will never get to the front or never to be in the challenging position. He showed his class. It was, for me, an early mistake in the race. It wasn't as if, he had a hard race up to now. That's, again, just my take on it and how it ran. And in Ergamine, it's a very interesting angle in that one. But I think it's fascinating because we're going to learn so much about it. And just on that, as we record, Barry Connell, as you said, has said, look, he's playing it, day by day, really, to see whether or not he lines up. But it's a fascinating race to look forward to. Right, we are going to head into another break. And right after this, we're going to take a look at some of the other great action that we're going to have over the 2 days at Leopardstown.
Now boarding the train of thought.
Calling out. Injury Lane. Statminster. Opinion Circus. Last Chance Cross. And Decision Time.
Back yourself. Boyle Sports.
McCafferty's traditional Irish bars are located across Ireland, the UK, Spain and the United Arab Emirates. McCafferty's bars provide the perfect backdrop and atmosphere to watch all horse racing and sports events, serving traditional Irish food and music played 7 days a week. Come to McCafferty's for the crack and stay for the experience. Check out McCafferty'sBars.com.
Yes, you're very welcome back. And of course, we've got an action-packed weekend outside of the graded races as well at Leopardstown this week. And a big thank you as well to our finance partner, Loanit. Of course, we're powering our video production and highlight reels every week. And do look out for plenty of the highlights and clips from the Champ.ie horse racing podcast on social media. Barry, outside of the big races that we've looked at, you like to look at the handicaps. There's quite a few of them this weekend as well on the cards. And what have you picked out for us?
Going to flag two up, Dave. One is He Can't Dance in the 3 mile, the 2:55 Leopardstown handicap on Saturday. And unexposed going into handicap company, Dave Gordon Elliott took this race in the past with Maxim and Dallas the Picton, who was in the same silks. Gigginstown horse, of course, He Can't Dance, was only beaten a length in the Grade 2 bumper at this festival, of course, last season behind a horse that you like, Dave, called Cannon. So given the fact that he's a 3 mile horse, I thought that was a really good effort at last year's festival, and ran well on the champion bumper and finished 8th as well. He's had the 4 runs over hurdles, Dave, last time at Navan. I thought he was a real eye catcher. They went very slow early in the contest over 2 miles 6, and he got a little bit outpaced maybe from the back of the second last, but came home very, very strongly. He's been dropped the pound on official ratings to 125, 10 stone 4, 20-1, Dave, in the Gigginstown Silks. I thought he'd have an each way chance for Gordon in a race that he's had a good record in. So, yeah, He Can't Dance 20-1. Just seemed a little bit too big, Dave, each way in the 2:55 at Leopardstown on Saturday. And the other one, Dave, of course, runs in that mare's 2 mile 2 furlong mare's handicap, named after, of course, the late Maureen Mullins' Shoda, the horse for Joseph O'Brien, currently priced up at 10-1. We're talking about Ballyfad. This horse finished third to Ballyfad at Leopardstown over the Christmas period, up 2 furlongs here to 2 mile 2 furlongs, rated 88 on the level, Dave, which makes me think that could be on a very workable mark of 116 over hurdles for Joseph O'Brien. Watch back its run at Clonmel the last day as well, Shoda. I thought it was, was ridden from off the pace. They was given a little bit too much to do, I thought, and off an official rating of 116 here, dropped down a pound officially by the handicapper after that Clonmel run. Up and trip 2 furlongs. And with Galileo Dame as well, Dave, potentially in the race could ensure that this horse carries less than 11 stones. So Shoda for me, 10-1 each way in that 12.55 at Leopardstown. The Mayor's Handicap, and He Can't Dance, 20-1 in the 2.25 at Leopardstown on Saturday's card.
Barry, and hadn't discussed it with you, but normally we do a nap in Next Best. This week I've gone a little crazy because it is the Dublin Racing Festival. I, for one, will be trying to land a little multiple, a treble or a double, but my 3 for the weekend, Gallopin' the Champ, Lossiemouth and Romeo Coolio. I just think the 3 of those are all going to do the business. For you, what do you like this week?
I keep it to a double, Dave. Lossiemouth and Romeo Coolio. Romeo being the nap of the weekend. Look, I think ticks all the boxes, Dave. Plenty of pace for 2 miles. I think, the soft ground is going to definitely help. 3 from 3 over fences. With the couple of little question marks about Copic de Boer, obviously. He's only had the 1 start over fences this season, Dave. And obviously that little bit of a setback as well. We didn't see him at Christmas. So Romeo Coolio, the nap of the weekend, Dave. Ballyfad, look, I think Gordon is going hunting for the prize money. I think he might get some at Leopardstown at the Dublin Racing Festival. I think he'll be rewarded. Ballyfad really impressed me, as I said. That's the next best 100 to 30 in the novice hurdle, Dave. And He Can't Dance, another one of Gordon's. 20-1 seems massive. That's an each way long shot as a handicap best bet at the Dublin Racing Festival. 20-1 each way of 125, Dave, could be thrown in down the bottom.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Could be thrown in down at the bottom. Once again, don't forget to put your 5 selections in for the 5 big races down below. And of course, your chance with the Goffs Irish Arkle, the Irish Gold Cup, the Champion Hurdle this weekend, Tattersall's Ireland Novices Hurdle, and the Dublin Chase.
Just to mention, Dave, very quickly, for those maybe who haven't entered the competition for the trip to Cheltenham as well, if you're watching this on a phone device, you won't be scanning the QR code, but the link is in the podcast video description as well, Dave. So important to note that. And don't forget as well, one more time, as you mentioned, Dave, we're going to do the draw for the 5cast for the first half of the season. The first half of the season prize draw on next week's show. So last opportunity, those 5 races, Dave, up on screens. And we'll be announcing a winner of those 4 brilliant prizes next week. The Irish Field subscription for 12 months. The Breakfast with the Shark Hanlon will do that on Red Mills Day, Dave, if the Shark will allow. The €150 voucher for McDonagh Shopping Centre, and also that overnight stay, race and stay package to the Fairbus Hotel and to Dundalk Races as well. So now's your opportunity, Dave. We'll be drawing the winners next week. Plenty have qualified already. But as I said, we didn't get that show in before St. Stephen's Day, so now's the opportunity. Now's the time for us to do the draw, Dave. So people, get your selections in. That right, Dave?
Absolutely. Now, before we wrap up the show, and we're going to wrap up the show with hearing from Stephen Thorne in a couple of moments, but before we do that, of course, we want to just give you a quick reminder, Barry, just the Road to Cheltenham is back. You had a great guest in Andrew Lynch on this week, and Road to Cheltenham show is going to be running for the next number of weeks, as of course we're counting down very much to March.
Absolutely, Andrew, a fantastic guest to have. Look, Amanda's won an Arkle, a champion chase, Sizing Europe, gave him some great days. And interesting to hear about one of my old favourites as well, Dave, Fleming-Star, who was such a fabulous 2-miler and building up as well to the Irish Arkle. Of course, Andrew won that with Fleming-Star back in 2012. So a bit of an insight. I know he likes Romeo Coolio for the big one this weekend as well. And it was great to hear from Andrew. And until, I suppose, researching Dave, I was surprised to see, not surprised, Dave, but I thought he only had 2 Cheltenham Festival winners. He actually had 4. Sizing Australia was another, and Bertie's Dream as well. So brilliant to hear from Andrew, and he's doing fantastic at Killebrew Stables at the moment with his Breeze Up business.
Absolutely, and the very best of luck to him with that. The very best of luck to all of you out there with your bets and selections for the racing at the Dublin Racing Festival and across the Irish Sea as well this weekend. And as promised, we finish off this week's edition of the Champ.ie Horse Racing Podcast, where we hear now from Stephen Thorne. Have a great week and enjoy the DRF.
From Dundalk to Longchamp, from the Galway races to the Breeders' Cup, Shamrock Thoroughbreds recently celebrated their 100th winner, and Ireland's leading racehorse syndicate has taken owners all over the world. Shamrock Thoroughbreds founder Stephen Thorne remarkably won the Winter Trainers' Championship at Dundalk during his first season as a racehorse trainer. To experience success with Shamrock Thoroughbreds and Stephen Thorne Racing, check out shamrockthoroughbreds.com.
Yes, and fresh off the back of another winner at Dundalk, of course, as we're recording, Steve, 2 winners in the last fortnight and operating at Well, a strike rate of 33% since the 1st of November. Things continuing to rock and roll.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. And we've picked up where we left off. 2025 with 2 winners there on the board this month. For Mr. John Kirkland, obviously a big supporter of mine now, and obviously Ocean Manifest was the first one. Grew a lot of confidence after that maiden win there at the back end of the year, and with a first time out winner there on Friday for him as well, by Sergei Prokofiev, who we mentioned in the stable tour back in November. And you know, he's a horse that just continued to thrive over the last couple of months there, and done it very nicely last week, first time out. So a lovely horse to look forward to for the season ahead. As you mentioned, 11 winners there on the board as well for the all-weather winter series, which is great, and a very high strike rate. We're not running that many. We haven't had any seconds all winners since the 1st of November. So we're knocking at a very high strike rate at 33% at the moment.
River of Life, one of a couple of first time out winners. I mean, that must give you great pleasure when one wins first time up.
Yeah, no, it did, and he was just ready to start. Lovely horse, and obviously most of mine, the majority of mine come on for a run. So we weren't, we're hoping that he'd run a nice race, top 3 finish, but to get it done in the style he did. Jack Carney, obviously, who I utilise for most of my horses, especially for the all-weather campaign, gave him a beautiful ride, and very, very grateful to have a horse like him on my side, and he'll be a lovely horse for the turf when it kicks off too.
What's the plan with him next?
He'll have a little break now. He knows plenty, and we'll eye up something nice on the turf when it starts back in March. But we'll take our time with him. He's a lovely horse, and whether it's a 3-year-old handicap or whether it's a something like a Guineas trial, but it's a little bit away yet. But lovely horse, and he did it very well. Looking ahead to Friday night, what have we got in? I've just got the one runner, just one bullet on Friday, Take Heart, a new import that we bought back in October for 29,000. He had won a 100 grand Goodwood handicap for Johnny Murt going back probably a year and a half ago, and he slipped down the weights, ran a lovely race there on debut for me, finished 4th, only just ready to start there just on the last meeting before Christmas, and we're stepping up to 1.5 miles on Friday, an extra couple of furlongs, but I'm hoping that he will get it, and if he sees out the trip, he'll go very close. He's down the weights. He's back in great shape, and I couldn't be any happier with him now. He's thrived there since the run before Christmas, so I'm hoping he'll go very close. Curdos could be out next week, you're telling me. Curdos, yeah, is coming along lovely. We paid a lot of money for him in October. Had Group 1 form in the book, 5th in the King's Stand at Royal Ascot last year. Lost his way sort of late at the back end of last year, but was in great shape at the sale. The prep has gone nicely so far and ready to start next Friday, hopefully. We've one more piece of work to do, but he's a good moving horse. He handles juice. He handles good ground. So I think the all-weather surface will suit him well. I'm just keen to get him out to see where we are, if he's going to be the stakes horse that we hope he might be of old. This will be a lovely sort of a confidence booster, and then we can make a plan for a stakes race there when the turf kicks off. But all systems go for Friday week with Curdos. Tell us about a new racehorse that you're syndicating currently. Yeah, Je suis célèbre, translate to I am famous, was bought at an online sale there last week. We're just we've just started syndicating him there this week, and he's gone down very well. We've 70% done now to existing shareholders and a few new people as well. So I'm keen to get some fresh investors involved. Obviously Shamrock is one of Ireland's leading syndicates, and the reputation that we have to buy nice horses. So this horse was flashed home in a Kempton maiden there 2 weeks ago, and I think he'll be a nailer for a maiden there in a couple of weeks' time at Dundalk, and hopefully that'll give him a bit of confidence. We might look at a handicap then soon after and give him a break, and he'll be a lovely horse for the summer months on the turf as well. So a lovely fun horse, and I think he has plenty of potential and upside. This horse, he really knuckled down and for his second start he knew his job well, and just touched off by a nice horse of Richard Hughes's. We've got a rating of 85. So Je suis célèbre. Keep an eye out for all the social media. tweets, etc. on him, and you can email me, contact me directly. You'll visit our website, shamrockthoroughbreds.com, and we're on all the Twitter, Instagrams, etc.
Steve, best of luck on Friday nights, and let's play the show out with a little bit more information on the horse. And well, my French wouldn't be the best, Steve. Pronounce it for us.
Je suis célèbre.